I've been working on this deck for basically the entire time I've been working on Standard. Knight of Sweet Revenge is a card that I have liked a lot of Modern, played a lot of Modern. There are, admittedly, some better enablers in that format with Gingerbread Cabin and Underwood Cookbook and Academy Manufactor. You can go really crazy with that card. But Knight of Sweet Revenge actually pairs pretty well with another card in Standard. Sorry. Catch my breath for a second. Roxanne, Starfall Savant. So Roxanne is a 5-mana 4/3. When it enters, you make a Meteorite, which is another 5-mana magic card, actually. Artifact, enters tapped, deals 2 damage to any target, taps for any 1 mana of any color. But when you tap any artifact token for mana, you add an extra mana of that type produced. So if you have a Knight of Sweet Revenge in play and a Roxanne, every single food token that you taps for 2. Now, there are not that many good food cards still in Standard, but there are a few. The big one is Bristlebud Farmer. This card is kind of crazy. It was one of the Thunder Junction like bonus sheet cards, like where a lot of really busted cards are, to be honest. But it's a 4-mana 5/5 trample. When it enters, you make 2 food, and when you attack, you can sacrifice a food. If you do, you get to mill 3 and put a permanent from those milled into your hand. This card is really strong. This card is really, really strong. 4-mana 5/5 trample, double food, and also a source of card advantage. Is pretty crazy, and pairs very well with Knight of Sweet Revenge. In fact, you can go sometimes Sweet Revenge into Roxanne into Farmer, which is pretty dang nice. Now, what I was missing with this deck was Heaped Harvest. This was a card I just totally like mentally glossed over, I guess, but it does just kind of fit exactly what the deck needed, which is another cheap food-based ramp spell. So this is a 3-mana food, enter search library for a basic, put into play tapped. You could tap this for mana. You can also sacrifice it to get another basic, so it can be like a double rampant growth that gains you 3 life. You could just tap it to Knight of Sweet Revenge. Very, very nice card to have here. And it's something that can be put into play off Genesis Wave. So the idea here, for the most part, is that you are ramping into Genesis Wave and kind of going crazy. And the idea is also that after your Genesis Waves, you're going to have a ton of food tokens in play, and then you can just sacrifice a Knight of Sweet Revenge to pump all of your creatures. That's kind of your main win condition, and then your farmers have trample too. And also, after your Genesis Wave, sometimes you can gain some life to stabilize too. Yeah, Bristlebud Farmer, these 2 cards basically I don't think I've seen any any standard play. Roxanne doesn't see almost any standard play, neither does Genesis Wave, Heaped Harvest. I don't know about Candy Trail. It's like we kind of have got 12 format staples and then a bunch of goofballs, so starting to feel more and more like I'm putting my own spin on the format. All right, let's give this one a go. Good chance for a big Genesis Wave on turn 5 here. Have I tried any Overlord of the Belmerk deck? Not yet, but I do think that there's some potential there for sure. Heaped Harvest was seeing play before Green Overlord most of your places. That makes sense, yeah. A little bit before my time. Spike just really wants Green Ramp to work in Standard. Maybe. I kind of think that, for me, it's a lot of, in a big way, kind of a metagame thing, where I think that these Green Ramp decks have a lot of game against the black-based mid-range, which seem to be very popular. The Show and Tell build also seemed to be pretty good against aggro. I think this build is going to be a lot worse against aggro, unfortunately, but for me, whenever I start working on a format and I can see that seems to be some kind of weakness or some kind of exploit, I just try to exploit it. And I think this is a good way to fight the black-based mid-range decks. We were stomping on them the other day. This is pretty close because we do kind of need a land. The Roxanne is pretty tempting though to double my Knight of Sweet Revenge. I think I'm just gonna bottom. We just don't really have too many bad draws besides just not hitting a land in the top 3. Going over Azure is the problem. Their in-game is so nutty. Yeah, so as far as against Domain, it's gonna be kind of tough. For both this deck and the Show and Tell deck, I want to try the T-Rex tech of just getting dressed. I want to try just T-Rexing our opponents. Can we beat a mouse? I don't know. We could beat it in the other deck. I think if we were on the play, we can beat that red deck, but it's gonna be not as good here. Okay, takes the Genesis Wave. was thinking about sacking the Candy Trail. This can also just sack to draw a card, but just gonna play the Elf and maybe Sweet's Revenge next turn. Should play Tranquil Frillback, really good in this format. So I wanted to play Rexage over Frillback so that if you Genesis Wave into it, double duress. If you Genesis Wave into it, you can get the effect, which I don't think you could, or it's Frillback and enters not when you cast. It is when you enters. Okay, I guess we should probably be playing Frillback instead then. Okay. Valid. Okay, my opponent has kept a 1-lander though. I guess it's going to be okay. And we found another Genesis Wave. Yeah, you're probably going to have some forest when you enter too. Yeah, I agree. The Frillback is probably a bit better. I'll make that swap. You're not going to play green to Frillback unless you have Sweets and Food Makers. That's not true. You're going to play green if you just hit forests off your Genesis Wave. They enter untapped. Like, you just have to hit, just a couple forests. Pretty easy to do. This deck is mostly forest. Maze Mind Tome. Can never be free of that card. So I'm probably going to try to Genesis Wave next turn. If my opponent casts another discard spell, I kind of want to use this Llanowar Elves to crack the Candy Trail. Actually, I might want to do that anyways. Just if they cast something like Hopeless Nightmare, I'm going to be able to discard whatever card I draw. I almost played some Obstinate Baloths in these decks today. I've already done a Genesis Wave Mazes in deck. No, but I want to. Yesterday, it might have been you. Someone asked me about, did I have any idea for Mazes End? And my idea is like, maybe Genesis Wave. Another tome. All right, so let's go ahead and ramp again. And right now we have 5, 6, 7 mana. You really want to Genesis Wave X equals 5 because you have a lot of 5, so hopefully we could draw a land off of our Candy Trail or our draw step. We have no tap lands in this deck at the moment. I had some in my earlier draft. All right, X equals 5. 1, 2, kind of a brick. We do get to cycle the Candy Trail. We do get to scry 2. Bottom both these. Any ideas for Wiltleaf Liege deck? Oh, I didn't know Wiltleaf Liege was in the format. I don't think it is, actually. I'm going to call your bluff. Yeah, Genesis Wave is all permanents go into play. So in this deck, it can hit your Knight of Sweet's Revenge, you can hit your Candy Trails, your Harvests. Could hit Planeswalkers if you're playing Planeswalkers. It's in Foundations? Wow, I totally glazed over that one. I mean, that card could be good if there's, like, a lot of these style discard decks popular, but for the most part, I probably wouldn't be too keen on them. Meantime. A lot of cantrips, too, in this deck. A Genesis Wave 3 and Genesis Wave 4. Let's keep those on top. We can draw both of them, too, because of the Candy Trail. Probably going to cast both of them next turn. Jim had on stream Monday. Yeah, if you want to send a list, I'd be happy to take a look. Like, this week, I haven't really been watching other standard creators too much. I did get some tech from Jim's article on the counter deck, which was really helpful. But I've mostly been just, like, locked in the room, brewing by myself, and I'm kind of in the zone, locked in. I'm having a lot of fun, too. This shit has been pretty good. I played this yesterday and got to own my deck. What did you play against? Modern's in a bad spot when Modern's number one streamer isn't playing it. Yes, Modern is in a bad spot. But it's also in a bad spot, but it's also like it's in a spot where what's the point of playing it 2 weeks before shakeup? It's like I just don't think people are going to be interested, and I'm not interested in touching it until the bans come out. You know what I mean? It's just like you just have it's like the dead week before finals, it feels like. All right, so we draw Genesis Wave, we draw another Genesis Wave. Kind of Kind of absurd. This guy thinks it's going to be shake up. I mean, I hope so. If there isn't, I will stick to standard. If there are no changes, I'm sticking to standard. All right, Beanstalk. Beanstalk, Roxanne, Roxanne, Overlord, Sweet's Revenge, Llanowar Elf, Forest, Forest, Bristlebud Farmer. No, I was going to do it again. my next Justice Wave was going to be bigger, I think. Because all my food tokens tap for 2. Okay. I don't know what they're doing. I feel like I do want some T-Rexes so that if they bring in some sweepers, I'll be able to kind of close games a bit better. I don't think I want 4 against this kind of deck. Just like a couple. They're playing Maze Mine Tomes. I wonder if they have more targets for stage. These should be the frilled bags. I forgot that you can put them into playoff Genesis Wave and still kick them. Yeah, but Foundations is also, like, this is a big part of the reason why I wanted to pick Standard as the format to pivot to, because Foundations has made Standard, I think, quite open for brewing. It's taken me a little bit of time to kind of understand that and understand, like, what we need, where, like, the direction to be going, and I think these ramp decks are a good direction at the moment. I think the blue-white deck yesterday was cool. I think there's a chance for 5-color auto builds, Leyland Binding for better removal, more trigger for beans. It's possible. I mean, I don't love the 5-color mana bases so much. I would probably stick to Teamer, but it could be possible. Something to look into. Onion for like 2 months. They go back. How's Standard been? Standard's been pretty fun. This week has been awesome so far. Honestly, I'm having a great time. This deck might be hard against Teamer and Blue-Green Tempo. Maybe. I do think I mostly am here trying to combat the like black mid-range decks. Yeah, I did think about Bitter Reunion as a haster for this deck. I was thinking I just want to play the T-Rexes in the sideboard. A modern staple, Dreams of Steel and Oil. How did I end up liking the Blue-White Enchantress deck yesterday? I liked it. I would play it again. We lost the mirror. We were playing for a 3-2, but our opponent was playing to our opponent was playing for 3-0, and so they beat us in 3-0. I don't know how they finished that league, but that build was very like you certainly had to like have a good ratio of lands and spells, which maybe sounds kind of obvious, but like that I feel like we stumbled like in an above average number of games. Okay, our 3 mana mana rock would be better than the T-Rex here. Is what it is. Opponent with double discard spell cut down is for, on by turn 2. Play versus Debir Tempo yet. Not with this deck, but I have played it against it a couple of times. Alright. Praying for a land for the farmer, I guess. Yeah, like, I feel like our ratio of lands and spells was not a great distribution with the blue-white deck yesterday. Alright. Probably not going to be able to keep up with this unless we rip a land. Do rip a land. Bristlebud Farmer. Come down. 4 mana 5/5. Makes 2 food tokens. When you attack, you can sack a food token, mill 3, and return a permanent milled that way. When will they do a ban? They'll do a ban in 12 days. Yeah, I believe this is only ally color lands. It'd be cool if they were all available. How many Hellraiser decks do you have cooking? I haven't started on any Hellraiser decks. I know we talked some about it yesterday. So what are they Sunken Citadeling? And there's only one field effect in the format. There's no Castle Locked Dwayne. No Cabal Coffers. I hope we find out why they have double Sunken Citadel. Alright, we're probably going to lose our farmer to a removal spell here. Oh, Fountain Port. That makes sense. Yeah, I'll take a look at Jim's green-white deck. So if we draw a land, we can go Roxanne. Oh, sorry, we don't have a Dynasty's Revenge in play. Sorry, Chroma's being weird again. I do like Kellen. The internet knows I'm shopping for wedding bands. Feels very Brian Kibler. All right, so they make a demon. 6/6 blocks my 5/5 pretty good. If I draw a land, though, I can Roxanne the demon, so I can also hit a land off the attack. Ooh, okay, so if I draw a land, I can go Knight of Sweet's Revenge into Roxanne. So come on, Bristol. Oh, wait, although I will lose a food because I have to sack. I think that's okay. Yeah, I can still go Knight of Sweet's Revenge into Roxanne if I hit a land here. And then kill the demon. Fountain Port would be good for cycling our food. Yeah, we could probably afford some Fountain Ports. I still have yet to have a game where I've had a Fountain Port like really be good. I know everybody seems to love this card in Standard. Yes. Yeah, we want this block, I think. Never mind, I don't want this block. Okay, so we get to go Sweet's Revenge into Roxanne. And then if our Roxanne lives, then all my foods are going to tap for 2 for this Genesis Wave, and we get to draw a card off the beans. And they're at 8, and I've got a T-Rex. They do get to gain 2 life because they have a demon in play, though. We also can maybe sack the Knight of Sweet's Revenge. They've already used 2 Duresses also, so it's kind of likely that I can cast Genesis Wave next turn. Will still be probably a game-winning Genesis Wave, even if the Roxanne doesn't give me an extra 5 mana next turn. Alright, a Archfiend and a Mazemind Tome. No attacks. Candy Trail is free because it costs 1 mana and taps for a mana, so you can scry towards some action potentially. That's action. These are actually they generate 4 mana post Genesis Wave because they make 2 food tokens and all food tokens tap for 2. Oh, sorry. 2 more mana, please. My opponent I feel like had a very good draw against mine this game. Yeah, Candy Trail unfortunately not a token, so you don't get the Roxanne double. I thought Roxanne doubled all artifacts. I thought for a long time. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have drawn a card off the bean. Or sorry, bean's not a May. Okay, I think they're dead to me sacrificing a Knight of Sweet's Revenge. I can play the Bristlebud Farmer's mana neutral. Cost 4, gives me 4 mana back. Can I T-Rex and sack a Knight of Sweet's Revenge? We'll see. I think I'm a little short of that. So 2 more. Okay, I forgot about these 2 foods though. All right, so we make 2, 4, 6, 8, 11, 12. Well, we have exactly enough. And we get to draw another card. Okay, so both T-Rexes in play. And then I'm going to give them plus X for X's number of foods I control. So now we have 2 21/21 T-Rexes. We have a lot of power and a lot of toughness. But it gives us the GGs. Off to a good start. We're cooking! I think I'm going to try this hand and hope that our Candy Trail can scry us into land number 2. And then we can cantrip with the bean. And then I think the upside of having Sweet's Revenge double farmer is high enough for me to give this one a keep on the play in the blind. Yeah, Genesis Wave is such a sweet card. I used to play that card in Commander a lot. It's probably still great there. Played it in my Sophy deck. I think I'll just get the hand hider up for while they make their mulligan decision. They mull a 6. Steel Seeker, too bad he does everything. Yeah. I don't know about Steel Seeker in this format. It's definitely not Like we don't have anything to bin into the graveyard for value. No feasting troll kings. Guess there are scrapwork mutts, but it's just always so important to be able to bin something for value with that card, you know. Last game opener was a one-lander. That's true. It's a one-lander where my opponent went double discard spell cut down on turn 2. Having a great time with Kiora Hellraiser Omniscience. Oh, that does sound like a good time. Nurburg with the 26 months. Thank you so much. I wish I kept that 3 mana food, but what can you do? Colonel Yogi with the 22 months. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you. It's kind of interesting. Do we lead on the Farmer or do we lead on the Knight of Sweet's Revenge next turn? I'm going to be 1 mana short of Sweet's Revenge into a 4-drop. Yeah, they might have No More Lies also. Yeah, we probably lead on the Farmer. I'm doing well, Harity. How you doing? I'm having a lot of fun like the last couple days with Standard. It's been a good time. Here for a good time, probably not a long time. All right, I think I want to scry with my Candy Trail after I see if this Farmer resolves. It immediately resolved. I think because this immediately resolved, we can bottom the other 2 Knight of Sweet's Revenges. Hope that we're not reading too much into that. Have I considered Hide in Plain Sight for my Simic deck? Yeah, it was in my first draft of the deck and ended up, I think, not quite making the cut. Oh, Enduring Curiosity. I was like, what is this? Well, no subtleties, no force mitigations in this format. Sweet's Revenge. Can I play both of my farmers here? Yes. I wanted to play Bristlebred Farmer in Modern too. It's like just one of these cards that's not quite good enough, but it's pretty close. And these are the exact kind of like this is the sweet spot for me for cards I want to be playing in this format. You know, cards that I just ordinarily would not get to enjoy ever. Might have been bad to sack a food token here because I'm just probably going to sacrifice a Knight of Sweet's Revenge to kill them next turn. But man, this card is just dope. There's like, and this is something I'm really enjoying. Just getting to play cards that I've wanted to play that I have not been able to play because they just don't quite meet the bar in Modern. Yeah, the math is not great for the cloaks. It gets better if you count like some of your smaller creatures as good hits, but yeah, the math is not that good. Another one. Well, GG. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 foods. 9 if I play this. You can Genesis Wave and sack next turn. I'd have to draw the Genesis Wave. Yeah, but this is gonna be a win here. And this was also something I really like about this deck and stuff I've liked about Genesis or Knight of Sweet's Revenge decks in Modern is that this is also like you make a ton of mana and you put a lot of permanence into play in both Modern and Standard, it seems, and then your mana engine is also your win condition. All right, so 3, 14, 14 Tramplers coming in. Good luck. Take your time. Yeah, I agree. It feels like I can let my creativity shine a little bit more outside of this whole combo versus Boros metagame. Also, if the ring gets banned, it's just going to be so good for my ability to be like, okay, we get to like actually have interesting deck building choices in a lot of decks. If I try brewing Roots at all, no. I saw in the Siev's recent build of Roots, and I thought it looked quite good. I would maybe play one more Fauna Shaman than he's playing, but you know I also think the Sieve is really good at selecting the numbers, and I might just run his list as is. I don't think Roots is probably a great archetype, but I think the Siege build looks like way better than anything else I've seen. I think I'm just gonna run this probably. Do you find the red mice decks are fun, please, in standard? Not exactly. I think that there seems to be an interesting metagame dynamic where the black base mid range decks are good against the red decks, and the red decks are good against the decks that are good against the black base mid range decks. And so there's like a little bit of a rock paper scissors at the moment. But see, that's a pretty normal like standard metagame dynamic. Aggro weak against mid range, big mana combo good against mid range, and then aggro good against big mana combo. Brooded with Omniscience in standard, yeah. I think it's on the other account, but oh no, it's on this one. This was very early in my drafting of standard, so I want to circle back to this at some point. The idea is that you can reenact the Crime Your Omniscience, and you can discard it for 0 mana with a Kitsa or Malcolm on turn 4. And then the idea is that you're going to draw a ton of cards off like Flow of Knowledge and Season of Weaving, and then eventually like flood the board with 1,000,000 tokens with your draw off. Probably a better way to build this. Probably a good to splash a color, but although splash a color in your Reenact the Crime deck is a little tricky. I like the charter courses a lot too. Thank you, Jeff, for the 43 months. Appreciate you. Yeah, but this was like this was a very early draft, and it did not end up performing super well. But I do want to kind of circle back to it now that I have a bit more experience. I think I have to keep this. Is Malcolm better than Rona? I'm not sure. So Rona blocks better and is maybe a higher card quality overall. I wanted to try Malcolm because in theory that card can also cast Omniscience, so I feel like I could get some points for that. It also has Flash, which is kind of nice. Have I given any thought to what Modern looks like post bans? No. I don't know what the bans are. I think that is quite a waste of time to try to sit and imagine every possible outcome and try to determine what the metagame looks like for whatever possible ban decisions they make. Someone told me that you think in addition to Ring, Amtraptor was the energy card to go. My thought was Guide of Souls. Were they correct? Is Amtraptor the card from energy you want to go? So people kind of don't hear me when I talk about this, I feel. My main point is that you have two options as wizards for the modern bans. You can either just ban Ring. You should ban Jegantha, but Jegantha is not an important card for this conversation, really. But it is a card that I think should be banned. It's just silly and broken. But Jegantha aside, I think you have two options as Wizards of the Coast during this ban season. You can you can just ban the Ring and then say, we are getting rid of scheduled bans and we will address the Boros energy issue in like a month, potentially, or whenever it becomes clear that either Boros energy is fine post-Ring ban or it's not. If they don't do that, they must ban something from Boros energy. It would be so bad to have another like 3 months of Boros just be so dominant. So I think that they should ban, and this is again why people don't hear me. I would ban a Johnny and Amtraptor if this was the route I was going down as Wizards. But I don't think it really matters too much. I would ban 2 cards. You could kind of pick any 2 cards between Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, Amtraptor, a Johnny, Flage, and Static Prison. I think you could pick any 2 of those, and that would be what you would need to do if you needed to stick to the scheduled bans. I think the thing is, the power level between all of these cards is so comparable and so similar that I think you can make a great argument for all of these. You can make a great argument as for Guide of Souls being like a great enabler for all of these cards. You could also say that Guide of Souls is like the only one of these cards that doesn't provide card advantage. And so that's kind of why you would leave that one alone. But for me, I don't have like a really strong opinion on this. And this is, I think, where people don't hear me. I don't have a very strong opinion on which 2 cards to ban, but I think they would have to like pick 2 with the data that they have that's hidden from us, like their like improvement when drawn data potentially. Okay, so we're gonna go into game 3 on the play. I think I'm just gonna run it back again. Yeah, I think Flage is very reasonable too. Flage gets a lot worse with a ring ban. Also, I'll say like those two cards are peas in a pod. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, I'm gonna keep this. Hard to mulligan an elf on the play. Would be awesome to draw something to do on turn 2. Energy deck, they gotta ban the energy card. I mean, I think this is I don't know, pretty reductive, but to all the people that go, the problem is you can't interact with the energy mechanic. I think that this has been a pretty debunked theory since like people straight up don't play Sun Cleanser anymore because it isn't good against Boros energy, and this is like an incredible way to interact with the mechanic. Oh baby, a Heaped Harvest. Let's go. Why the Fog of War? It's good against aggro decks. I don't think we want to bring in this aggro deck. It's a bit slower. Mostly the red ones. Guide is nonsense. So the thing is, and again, y'all don't hear me when I say this. They're all nonsense. They're all nonsense. The card quality in all of these Boros cards is much higher than everything else. The reason why some of these can probably stay together is because there are other synergistic aggro decks that can outshine them if you break up the deck a bit. So decks like Scales, decks like Prowess can be other aggro decks that can exist in Modern post-ban that can outshine the new combination of Boros once you remove two things. But the power level is so similar. Again, it just really doesn't matter that much which two you pick, I think. I don't think any of these cards are that much stronger than any of the others. They're all about the same. Read the rest of the comment. It's great, but it isn't the only one for one deck. Yeah, I a piece of love. I read this part of the comment. I don't know what you mean. Guide of Souls is nonsense, in my opinion. Is a 1-for-1 card. It's great, but it isn't the only 1-for-1 deck. I did read that part. I didn't know what you meant, so I didn't respond. Sorry. So I'm probably gonna sack this food here. End of turn. A package of Guide of Souls and Pride could fit in a bunch of other things. I don't think it could fit in a bunch of other things. I think you could play it in like the green-white Birthing Ritual deck. You could play it in some not super great mono-white decks, but that could have some cool metagame potential. Could you tell me 2 other decks you would play this package of Guide of Souls Ocelot Pride in? Fog seems so bad versus the red pump deck. Could you elaborate on that? I would think that the Fog, like they use their pump spells, and then you get to Fog and validate those pump spells. But let me know. Sophy combo. I would kind of say that Sophy combo is like the green white Birthing Ritual shell for it. But sure, there's one. Zoo. You could play it in Zoo, maybe. Yeah, I think you should play it in Zoo. I've been kind of advocating for that even. Sure. Fog only stops little creatures. Oh, I thought... Okay, you're right. Or look, can you respond to... Okay, so what happens... Can you respond to the pump spells? Do they still get fogged or no? Like, does it like prevent? Don't want to play Overlord there? I wanted to sack the food for life, but maybe the Overlord just for the ramp was better. Because we have a Genesis Wave X equals 8 here, which is kind of, or X equals 5, which is, or 8 mana, which is kind of like the bare minimum you need. So I was thinking that the life might be more important, but maybe X equals 1. It does end up being more important. Oh, yep. We can't, oh, so these obviously have Summoning Sickness. Okay, not looking good. They will do damage if they're over 3. Okay, so yeah, I wasn't sure if he just like applied like a damage prevention shield onto them. Yeah, I guess not. I mean, I'd never ban Guy because it's the easier card to trade without trading a poor way. I mean, yeah, I agree for the most part. Like that, for me, I would pick a different card. But my whole point, and nobody really wants to hear me. No one cares about this point. No one likes the it doesn't really matter point very much. It doesn't really matter very much. They're all about the same. Is it possible that sweepers are made good enough by Ring that ban that Boros' bounces is? It is possible, but but my big thing is Wizards literally, I don't feel like they can afford to find out in 3 months. Like, I think that you can just ban nothing from Boros besides the ring and besides Gigantha. If and only if you decide that you are going to get rid of scheduled bans. I think that's the only way, or that would be the best decision for Modern. All right, see if we can survive in top deck. Maybe another Genesis wave. Probably nothing else gets us out of this at this point. The outdoors decks ran a bunch of sweepers and still fell behind. Yeah, I mean, a big part of like the sweepers not being good against Boros anymore, or as good against Boros, is the ring. They just almost sometimes want you to tap out for a sweeper so you can just slam the ring. Did you like when they got rid of scheduled bans before? No, I did a long ass YouTube video during the grief ban and the Nadu ban. I did a big video about why scheduled bans could possibly lead to exactly what we have now. We watched it on stream last week. I've been a long time big hater of scheduled bans. Uh-oh. Interesting they chose to put that on the Flood Pits Drowner here. Am I dead? I don't think I'm dead, but I have to like block here, block here. Yeah, they can attack with everything. I guess I hope that I don't know what they probably have some like kind of bricks on the Zodiac Glyph here. Go to 1. Top deck another Genesis wave. Was rampant growth in PCO a consideration for this deck? I think that I'd rather play the food-based ramp cards I'm playing instead, like the 3-mana one, instead of just the 2-mana put a forest into play. But it's possible that could be better than Heaped Harvest. But I think I like Heaped Harvest so far. Hard to mulligan an Elf. Put into the mold to 6. Incredible draw. Plaza of Heroes. Don't know what that's about. My controversial take is that Magic the Gathering should be, you should attempt to make it fun to play. That is my take. You should attempt to make Magic the Gathering fun to play as Wizards of the Coast. Alright, what is this? They named human. This is a Siren Pirate. Did whatever they're casting not a human? Okay, the Grixis mana now. Marchesa. So this is a 3-mana 3/4. Whenever you commit a crime, pay 1. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand and one of them into your graveyard. Okay, well, I'm going to cast Roxanne. Have I considered including some forage or bargain to crack my harvest? Well, the thing with harvest is I'm happy to just tap this to Night of Sweet's Revenge, and sometimes you're just okay to sacrifice it or have it just be a food and play for Night of Sweet's Revenge. Sack it to your 4-mana 5/5 attacker guy. So I don't think that I would be interested in trying to play a forage or bargain card just for the sake of cracking this, but it is possible. Maybe there is one of those that I overlooked that we should be playing. So next turn, I have 6 mana. Oh, they're attacking. Well, once your Genesis wave gets to X = 5, that's when you wait. 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's not X = 5. Sorry. So let's just cast a Beanstalk here. I want to cast Beanstalk before Candy Trail, so if I draw 5, I can cast a 5. And yeah, this seems kind of reasonable. Just kill this with the second Meteorite token. I always think that when this trigger goes on the stack, I have to target, but you have to let the Meteorite enter first. Meteorite is a 5-mana card. It does enter untapped instead of these tokens, but the fact that this is a 5-mana 4/3 that just Just puts the 5 mana card in play on ETB or attack. It's so funny to me. And has like big upside after that. Is the deck of David of another Bruce in store? I have a update to the last deck we played, which was the show and tell mono green deck, and I think I've made some pretty big changes for that I'm pretty excited for. It's pretty rare for me to come to a stream with only one deck prepared. This would usually just be when I have a kind of failure brew session of the night. It has happened, but for the most part, I try to come to every stream with at least 2 decks to play, and then ideally 2 decks to play, and like maybe 1 deck I'm interested in circling back to. And sometimes we get weird and brew with it on stream, but it's kind of nice when that happens organically. Okay, let's go to game 3. I think we do probably need something better than Fog of War. Didn't realize how bad this was against the pump deck. Yeah, maybe just play like Torch the Towers or Pyroclasms. I'm not sure. We might have to play more red sources. Mom with the 41 months. Thank you. Welcome back. I'm not even sure if Pyroclasm is good against those decks, though. Yeah, Torch the Tower having Bargain is pretty nice. I mean, we have Bean into Overlord. I think that's probably going to be a keep for me. How much time do I spend prepping off stream? It kind of depends. Like last night was like probably the least prep I've done in months. Because I just got these decks together pretty quickly last night, and I was able to like work on some other stuff, not stream related. Beyond last night, this has been probably the busiest, like the most prep I've had to do. So, but I would say, but like last night, like 2 hours. Usually it's like over the course of my stream career, it's closer to like 3 or 4 hours a night. And then, but during this very difficult Modern season, where it's been so tough to get like new interesting brews out, it's been such a nightmare to like get new interesting things to play, that I was spending like 4 to 6 hours every single night, like just trying to get anything interesting. And now we're taking a break. All right, 2-1. Let's go. Opponent is a giver upper. Again, this deck, these ramp decks are just gonna, feed on the black base mid range deck. So I think this is mostly gonna be something you want to play in those environments. Might still be worse than the show and tell build, right? But I wanted to give this one a go because it's just so dang cool. I think I could keep this on the play with Mulligan on the drum. Does this list feel better than yesterday's one? I'm not sure. I think I still probably like yesterday's one a little bit better, but I think this deck is also incredibly cool. Do we think Wizards will be sticking with the schedule BNR stuff? I mean, I cannot predict. I think that they should not. I think that it's been very bad for Modern. Do I think that what the vibe I get is that there's some executive who has made the decision that we're gonna be sticking to these scheduled BNRs, and I don't know that there's anything to be done about that. It also could be the case that the play design team is exhausted from dealing with like crazy people nonstop and like crazy deranged everything all the time. And so it could be the case that they just want to contain that to once every 3 months instead of every single day, which, pretty valid, honestly. Does he Jim Davis Archduke Kona deck you want to argue with? Yes, I did. In fact, that's kind of how we got here, was seeing that list. Although we've gone mono green. Was Jim's X mono green? I honestly can't remember at this point. We pulled up the article yesterday, but we're also playing Smuggler Surprise, which I think it just makes so much sense in the shell. But we started with like the Cloak deck, and then we went into this one after some consideration. Okay, very bad to have not drawn a land here. Can maybe sack the Heaped Harvest for a ramp next turn, but I think scheduled BNRs are fine. Just allow for emergency bans for things like Nadu. I mean, that effectively is not different from as needed bans, right? But that is also what I want. I want them to be able to ban stuff when they need to. Give me life, please keep doing Archduke's Charm and other formats. Yeah, I do love Archduke's Charm. It was like fantastic in this deck yesterday. I feel like this list is looking pretty dang nice. I'm kind of optimistic about these Bramble Familiars. I'm hopeful that they perform really well. Maybe we go up on them. I just want to start with 2. Okay, they flip a Swift Spear here. Now, I have a hard time imagining that a block here is going to go that well for me, so I think I'll just click say no to block. How do we tap Conan that list? So you tap it with Scene of the Crime. It's like a land Springleaf Drum, and what's cool is you can go turn 2 off Llanowar Elves or turn 3 off non-Llanowar Elves, Archdruid's Charm, put this into play and tapped, play land, play Conan, tap it, put a big thing into play. So it's kind of like, almost like a Splinter Twin. As overused as that is, right? All right, I do think we have to attack here. Not feeling great. So we can sack this. Put Forest into our hand. Search for another Forest into play. And then I'm going to go cast Roxanne, try to Meteorite the Swift Spear. Then probably try to chump the mouse with the Roxanne. You think that version is better than the one-shot kill with Calamity, Taylor, or Boiler Bridge? Yeah, I mean, like, all those cards suck, you know what I mean? Like, they're, like, do you need... I don't think this is a deck that, like, needs to one-shot kill anything. Okay, they reveal a Lightning Strike, which we're almost just dead to that. Might actually just be dead to that. Like those, it's really cool when you get your one-shot kills, but then you just have a million Terror of the Peaks in your deck, and these cards suck, and, I feel like it's just, in this build at least, way better. Like, Vaultborn Tyrant is incredible and stabilizes and draws you a ton of cards. Sire is incredible and stabilizes and is painful to kill. You have other, like, big card draw stuff you can put in. You can tutor for your removal off Archdruid's Charm. I just don't really see much reason to, like, reduce your card quality to win games that you almost definitely would win anyways. Okay, let's bring in the Fog of Wars, anyways. Try them anyways. I do think that this deck is a lot better against the red decks because you have a lot of life gain. Sire specifically stabilizes really hard against them. There's a guy in my local area who's played Roxanne, Control Brews, and every store champs for like the last 6 months. Never seen him do worse than top 4. Yeah, I love Roxanne. It's very cool. Heaped Harvest's life gain seems okay. Well, we have a lot of food beyond the Heap's Harvest, right? I just want to try the Fog of Wars. I do think that they're probably quite bad. Is this deck competing for the same meta spot as Domain is? Maybe. You could probably say that. Alright, gonna mulligan this. Keep this one. My hot take is that Eldrazi aggro Sire with tier 1 postmodern bans. That's interesting because it is not very good at the moment, and I would even go as far to say quite bad. Okay, so we hopefully can farm her next turn. Yeah, the old bottom the sideboard card plan. Yeah. Back down to 20. What? 5 damage? Bullshit. As we get to Roxanne the Challenger. And then maybe we get to go Beanstalk into Overlord next turn. Okay, so they seek the beast. They hit a Thornspire Verge, and a Paul Patch Recruit. They play the Paul Patch Recruit. So if I target the Heartfire hero, they put a counter here. I do want to make sure I can tap for 2 mana with my Meteorite, so let me just go ahead and cast a Beanstalk here. I might cast second Roxanne if they end up killing this Roxanne in combat. Let's just see. So target this. They put a counter on the Paul Patch Recruit. I guess it's better to target the recruit so they can't just block and trade. Someone with 22 months, thank you, welcome back. Glad you're here. Appreciate ya. Oh, right, but the stupid heroic thing. I guess it's kind of the same then. They do have the snakeskin veil. And then they just don't trade, which is kind of bad news for me. We do get to cast an Overlord here. Hopefully our Roxanne is alive because it'll be +2 mana for my Genesis Wave next turn. Can't they just kill elves and you can't cast your spell? Do you think that if they had a shock, they'd be really like... Oh, you mean with the Heartfire here, this only deals damage to opponents. So yeah, so I don't think that they would just like randomly shock in the middle of combat here. Well, we're blocking. Taking 5 damage. Yeah, it's okay. I actually had the same thought about this card. This card is insane, but it's not quite that insane. All right, wave time. Wave to your chatters. Is Mura Trash Technician? I don't know what that card is. If you want to exclamation point card it, I'll read it. We're gonna play Shrapnel Blast in this list. The deck I'm playing right now? No, of course not. So not the best hits. Can also only sack 1 food here. I can't even cast Fog of War? I think I'm targeting the Questing Druid and just letting... Oh, this says Trample. We'll target the Paul Recruit. They do have a Monstrous Rage. Any blocks? No blocks. They have 2 cards in their hand. We'll see if they can punch through. I'm effectively at 13 at least. Mura Trust Technician, Raccoon Warrior. Beginning of your main phase, add red or green for each raccoon you control. Whenever you expend 4, gain 3 life. Whenever you expend 8, exile top 2 cards of your library. Until end of your turn, you may play those cards. I guess I don't know why this would be a sideboard card. Yeah, Fog of War is, I don't think should make the cut. Is it, like what's the best anti-aggro card you can play? Is it Torch the Tower? Is it Pyroclasm? Is it that like 2 mana green creature that gains some life? Gain 3 life every turn. Well, it says whenever you expend 4, gain 3. But I can't expend in this deck, can I? Torch the Tower 100% exiles the mouse. That makes sense. Scoos. Always Scoos. I don't know if Scoos seems that good. Don't think I'm dead. I think I get to chump the Questing Druid, gain 3. Is my opponent dead to double Roxanne plus Roxanne attack trigger? Plus Land War Elf attack. So if they sin with everything, I think they die. Expend just means you spend mana on spells. You expend all the time. Oh, I thought expend was... the analyze the pollen mechanic, whatever mechanic that one is. Oh, sorry, I missed lethal. Oh no, never mind. I did not miss lethal here. Okay, let's just draw 3. Okay, cool. Obviously, that's what we wanted. Oh, damn it. I guess that's fine. Yeah, collect evidence is what I was confusing it with. Okay, I will give another look to that card then. That sounds kind of interesting. I did not come here to not wave to y'all. So I didn't draw any Knight of Sweet's Revenges. I haven't put any into play yet. There we go. And 2 Bristle Bud Farmers, which means that I think we're gonna have more mana than we started with. And then the farmer that's in my hand is mana neutral because we have Roxanne and Night of Sweet's Revenge in play. We also can activate Night of Sweet's Revenge to pump everything, which I guess is probably going to be lethal, right? It would have to be just lethal with the Roxanne because that's my only creature able to attack. I have 7 plus 2, that's 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. Well, I didn't graduate college, but I think that'll do it. Guess we'll just go ahead and gain a bunch of life too. For fun. Okay, pretty nice. Wasn't 2x Roxanne lethal. I don't think it was, but they had the blocker, right? Well, Fog of War sucks. I'm just gonna Heaped Harvest instead, I think. Just try to like Llanowar Elf into 3-mana ramp. It's a 5-drop. Yeah, it was 9 dude having to kill Swift Spear, but also like we had to double Meteorite trigger to kill Swift Spear because the 2-1. You had 6 damage with Roxanne's and 5 damage with attackers, but Swift Spear is a blocker. Yeah, exactly. Swift Spear is a blocker, so we did not have lethal with double Roxanne. And we counted this out loud on stream. Yeah, so the problem with Fog of War that I didn't realize that chat pointed out is that they just get to buff their creatures to larger than 3 power, and it doesn't prevent the damage. Yeah, if Frillback over Rexage would make like that would just be a lot better. We probably should have dropped the league and just done that. Okay, I guess we're keeping on 6. My opponent also rolled a 6, so maybe they'll stumble a little bit. One copy of a 4/4 haste that gives haste to all 4 power haste. Good idea in this deck. Is that a card? I mean, that could be a good idea. What's the name of this card? Is it green? Because if it's not green, then I don't know if it's like a double red 4-drop, it's not going to be super easy to cast. Surak. The 5/4? That one doesn't give haste to all 4 power creatures, does it? Alright, I guess I keep this to cast next turn, and then hope that they stumble a bit. Caustic Sure Shot, 4/4 reach, at the beginning of a combat turn, other creatures with power 4 or greater gain trample and haste till end of turn. Might be good. Okay, there's also another card. I mean, there's 2 4-mana 4/4s that give haste to everything. Other creatures have haste. One or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Whenever a face down creature you control dies, turn the battlefield face down under its owner's control. If it's a permanent card, turn it face back up. Incredibly clunkily worded. This is Ward 2. Oh, it's Cactus Folk. Okay. Yeah, I could see that going in a build like this. I think that would probably go in like the more generic build. Because I'm thinking that you can build Genesis Wave like this, or you can play cards like that and like Red Overlord in addition to Green Overlord. Yeah, we are having fun today, Fruit Kid. Okay, 2 cards in their hand. Innkeeper's Talent, so give this +2/+2 every turn. So gain 3 life, draw a card. This has Trample. Right now I can Genesis Wave X equals 3, which is not enough. So if my opponent levels up this to 4, they put 3 counters on it, then we'll have to chump block. I think the fun part about playing Standard again is the feeling that scrub, not knowing anything. Yeah, it is pretty refreshing. I agree. They put 4 counters? Oh, no, you're right. It is 4 counters. 9 power trample. I have 4 toughness, so we are alive. Instead, they scorching shot, count 2 counters, and I am not alive anymore. Dang. All right, let's wait for the 3/2. The red one. Wait, what does the red one do? It gives haste. I mean, I don't really feel like giving haste to everything is like that's certainly not where you start with with Genesis Wave, but it does seem like this 4/4 that has Ward 2 and gives other creatures with trample and haste that have power 4 or greater. That seems like the one I would play. Cactus Sure Shot. You will live. The land where you're going to live. Let's go. So it seems like maybe they have like one of the counter unless you pay 2 cards. Next turn I'm going to have 5 mana, so running into one of those might stink. Oh, I mean, if they just tap it out, they're tapping out. Will not stop them from doing that. I'm 1 mana short of going Sweet's Revenge into Bristlebud Farmer this next turn. So I think we just farm and then play a Candy Trail. Keep a Roxanne, which can go really crazy with the Knight of Sweet's Revenge potentially. The big score is the set with the most interesting build rounds. I agree. I've wanted to play this card in Modern for a bit. For a while, this was like my secret tech or whatever, but it just never really got there. Okay, so if I go Knight of Sweet's Revenge, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I can just go Sweet's Revenge into Roxanne. And then kill the Fairy Mastermind. And then I can't quite sack a food also. Not that I necessarily want to. I might want to sack a Knight of Sweet's Revenge next turn. I have 5 food right now. I should be able to pretty easily play this and then still sack 1. So give both things +6, +6. So 12 + 5 is 17, plus the 2 from Roxanne is threatening lethal. Eldraine is still in standard. This is the return to Eldraine set. So the original Eldraine not legal. Legion, yeah, I tried a Legion Extruder Enigma Jewel Brew. I think it was on my other account. Yeah, it was on my other account. I was playing like Gleaming Gleardrake, Collector's Vault, the Glyph that makes things a 5/4. I was playing the 1 mana Case Enchantment. I was playing Crime Novelist, which is a card that I also historically have liked a lot. So I don't exactly love the idea, I suppose, of sacking a Knight of Sweet's Revenge into all this open mana. So what if we just went to combat here and let them go for the throw at the Roxanne and then just cast an Overlord, maybe sack a Candy Trail first. And also like, you know, yeah, if we get Tidebinded, they get Tidebinded, that's okay. Better than them Tidebinding the Sweet Revenge too, I think. No blocks is interesting. Now, I guess my stuff no longer taps for 2, so I guess I made a little mistake of not like sacking a Candy Trail in response. But still sack a Candy Trail here. Yeah, then we can go Beans into Overlord. And pass back. They use Crime Novelist because I liked Unctus more. Yeah, I liked Crime Novelist. It's just kind of a pet card of mine too. Deck did not perform very well at all though. I just lost everything, so I'm not exactly on that one still. So now they're gonna Kaito. Dude, this is scary. It's like zoom up, zoom in on his face here. It's me. So they tap my Overlord. Okay, well, I think it's time for some sweet revenge. I think I attack them. I think the issue is trying to play a non-pump spell red deck is hard because unlike modern, one red doesn't equal murder. Yeah, I mean, sure. I guess. I don't think that that's the reason why the Is It artifact deck isn't good. It's like it's I think it's more of a card quality issue. So to have like land cut down or -2 the Kaito here. Should probably sack one of these end of turn. Thin the deck a bit, gain some life. Unless they unless they don't cash in the Kaito. Oh, my Roxanne is tapping for extra mana again because the Tishana's is dead. It's fun. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna sack both of these now. I have plenty of food tokens, and the extra life is nice, and the deck thinning is nice. Okay, well let's see what we draw off the beanstalk. Do you think I've cycled the Roxanne here? Interesting. I guess I'm targeting them. Can keep a candy trail here. We have a lot of mana, just need action. Oh. Hard to say no to either of these when I have up the beanstalk in play, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Okay. This is mostly conceding to me keeping 2 cards on top there, I think. Okay, so we're up a game against Demir. I think I mostly just wanted to run it back in this matchup. I kind of wanted to maybe try the T-Rex plan, but I don't think I want to do that on the draw, so let's just run it back for now. Reevaluate for game 3, potentially. Well, they say we're going to go use the restroom real quick. I do think we need to probably circle back to this one with a updated sideboard, but I'm pretty anxious to play more of the Smuggler Surprise deck. Okay, sorry about that. Gonna mulligan. Puts on a mold of 5. Yeah, you could maybe play 1 or 2 Fountain Port here. You're gonna stack the tokens, nice. Alright, they mold a 5 on the play here. No duress. I'm gonna bottom both of these. Maybe a little greedy. Want to find a Overlord pretty bad, though. Got a lot of cards to draw, too. Alright, don't mind getting 1 for 1 when they mold a 5, we mold a 6, and they're on the play. Maybe mind that a bit more. Probably still okay. Alright, let's sack this, see if we find Llanowar Elf for another candy trail. You know, a lot of people, especially in Standard, always dislike being discard spelled, but I don't know. For some reason, I really enjoy the games where I get Thoughtseize and stuff. They're always like lower resource games, and I just feel like you get to make so many decisions. This is quite a good multiply for them, though. We're probably gonna play Overlord next turn because it checks the Enduring Curiosity a bit better. I don't think we can draw a land and play both. Wow, double Spyglass Siren. Wow. And they don't sack the map token, so they have something else. Okay, well now I think I need to play Roxanne so that I can start to clean up these Spyglass Sirens. Hopefully all they have is negate, because we have only creatures right now. No, they have a Flood Pits Drowner. Well, we've been tempoed. Reveals a Mockingbird. Keeps it on top. Keeps it on top again, so now I can't Roxanne the Spyglass Siren anymore. I'm a mana short of going Roxanne into an Overlord. Not looking good. M3, 19 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Yeah, Curiosity is really good. Like, this is another one of these cards that, like, people try to play in Modern and just isn't quite good enough. Very good in Standard. Alright, I'm down to 5. Okay, good news. So we should be able to play both of these this turn. And then our plan is to top deck a Genesis Wave, I guess. Although they might have a negate. Although I guess they wouldn't have cast Duress, right? Oh, whoops. Do you think Standard is better than Modern at the moment? I don't know. Modern is my favorite format. I have spent the last 5 years playing it. I think that it is kind of like post MH3 for me has been an all-time low. It is still my favorite format, and I like to play Modern still. And I'm optimistic that it'll be good again post bans. But it's been good to take a break. It's been good to try something else. I've enjoyed the change of pace. So I only have 1 food token for life gain here. What is this? Ooh, just a gigantic Mockingbird on Roxanne to kill me. Cool, game 3. Yeah, I like how weird Modern is. I like how like cool you can get with the deck building, how all over the place it is, how creative you can be. But it's just good to, I think, branch out a bit, and I think I keep this on the play. It's been good to branch out. Imagine top decking up to Beanstalk here. Ban is supposed to be in 12 days. It'll be here before we know it. Dress, dress, dress. Yes! Beat off the top for the rub-in. Never mind, Standard sucks. Reveals a Mockingbird. Puts it in the graveyard. Yeah, but yeah, variety is good. Trying new things is good, and also like I want to do well at the Standard GP in Atlanta in January. Like that's my next Modern tournament. It also makes sense for me to like try to master it. I think. All right, so 5. I have 8 mana next turn, so 1 short of just jamming both of these, I guess. So now I can go Knight of Sweet's Revenge, or I can try to go Knight of Sweet's Revenge into Bristlebud Farmer into Overlord. How likely am I to jam a brew in Atlanta? I mean, I am the brew guy, so likely, I suppose. I will play what deck I think is the best, and a lot of times I do end up feeling like that's one of my brews. Alright, not a bad turn. Opponent maybe go for the throat it a little late. Roxanne was passively adding a lot of mana there. Well, I'm gonna probably sack the Knight of Sweet's Revenge here. Maybe not. It is only as a sorcery. I'm a bit worried about like they tap my guy down. I just don't have this anymore. Let's go to combat and plan to like just sack this to the Bristlebud Farmer and cast something else maybe. They did this on my main phase. Okay, yeah, let's wait. My other Overlord becomes active here. I like that came active so quickly. They're thinking about chump blocking. How could they possibly bounce back? Well, I could never draw another spell this game. That would be step one for them. Then they'd have to kill this, too. It seems tough, I agree. Okay, looks like we have successfully done what this deck is supposed to do. Farm black-based mid-range players. But we've lost to aggro twice. Which is not kind of to be expected, I think. So I do want to circle back to this deck with an updated sideboard, probably, but I think I'm pretty happy with where the main deck is. You probably could play some Fountain Ports. Maybe you could also play Cavern on Druid, which lets you cast Llanowar Elves, Farmer, and Roxanne, so that could be good too. Not a lot of counter spells in the format right now, so I don't think it matters that much. But let's go and play some more of the Kona Smuggler Surprise deck. This deck was awesome yesterday. It was really, really impressive.